What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So, I saw a very interesting post making the rounds on social media, and I want to give my commentary on it. It was from one of the original goofball Negroes on social media, Tommy Sotomayor. And, I'm surprised that even now there are people that still listen to him and take him seriously, even though he's been proven several times not only to be a scammer, but basically a hypocrite and a loser. All right. This guy is probably one of the biggest loser simps ever to grace the internet. And he's been embarrassed by his own simping and the shenanigans he's found himself in. But there are people who still follow him. There are people who still love him. And usually it's other people who are just like him, people who are bitch made like him, people who had a mother who was no good, basically, who was always trying to find a new man and didn't really raise her sons correctly. You is a Negro who is basically a coon at heart and in his spirit. If we were back on the plantation, this he would be the Stephen character. And just like the character Stephen, Tommy is letting you know that
this Candyland, nigga. You can't destroy Candyland.
Tommy Sotomayor is one of these black people who worships at the altar of white people, and especially he overly praises and worships white women. Okay, and even though white women have screwed him over and done him wrong, he still loves them more than anything in the world. Right? So he made a post on, I believe it was on X, where he was comparing the GoFundMe's for these two situations. So he compared the GoFundMe of Carmelo Anthony and the GoFundMe of this bigot bust down named Shiloh Hendricks. Now, if you don't know who she is, she's a white female who called a black child the N word, and white people have come out in full support of this white woman. Okay, so they love that. They love bigot bust downs who take a stand, quote unquote, against the N words of the world. So she's getting the full support of a lot of people in the white community, and probably outside the white community too. I'm sure there's some coons in there, and I'm sure there's some Latinos and Asians and everything else, because when it comes to black people, other groups of people, other non-black people and other groups, they like to unite to fight against black people, no matter what it is. So Tommy Scrotum Moisture decided to get out here and he compared the two GoFundMe's, basically saying that this white woman got more money or about the same amount of money in a shorter amount of time. And I'll read you exactly what his post says, and you can view it here while I read it. Saying, he stabbed a white kid to get his money over a few weeks. She called a black kid the N word and got her money in a few days. Verdict: blacks don't have enough resources or backing to win a race war. Bro had to take a life to get what sis got for saying a word. Let that sink in. Now, it's posts like this that showed me, and like even back when Tommy Sotomayor was at the height of his popularity, I could see posts like this from him on his personal website and on social media that showed me that this man was not that smart. It made me wonder that, a lot of people out there did not see the chinks in this man's so-called invincible armor, and I was wondering why people would take him so seriously, right? But the cult of personality is very strong, and there's a lot of lost people out there. And if there was anyone that followed him back then, I could somewhat understand it because his type of buffoonery was not as prevalent on social media. You know what I mean? Like most people took personalities on social media during that time at face value, right? They assumed that these people did not mean you any harm or weren't trying to be hyperbolic just to make a buck on social media, right? So I can understand people following him back then, but once again, he's been exposed so many times, and not just by other people. He's exposed himself. I would think that no one would take him seriously now. Even white supremacists don't take him seriously or like him, even though he supports them and, licks their scrotum whenever he gets the chance to, right? But even they don't take him seriously. But posts like this shows just how ignorant and buffoonish and stupid he is, right? The fact that he's older than I am and he is still ignorant enough to, for one thing, think that the race war is something that's coming in the near future, right? Like I that's a pet peeve of mine that people still think like that, or at least black people anyway, still think like that on social media, where they think that there is such thing as some sort of future race war with the white race. The race war is nothing new and has been going on ever since black people and white people came in contact. Okay? That's when the race war started, and we're in it right now. We're in the trenches of it right now. Now, I know there's some idiots out there that will be saying, well, what he's talking about is a actual race war where people are shooting at each other. That's what he's talking about. They'll have those idiots out there that'll say stuff like that. But even that's been going on since blacks and whites have made contact. That's nothing new at all. All right? What do you call the complete subjugation of black people under slavery? That's basically capturing prisoners of war and making them work for you and getting resources and wealth out of them. You're stealing their resources, you're stealing their land, you're using their bodies as a resource. That's race war all day, every day. And that's physical race war. So we're still in that now. Okay? So to people who are very slow in the mind and who don't know how to think, and really, you have ignoramuses like Tommy Sotomayor who basically get all their, talking points from these white bigot conservatives. So they regurgitate a lot of this nonsense. He probably even listens to like conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones or whatever, who talk about nonsense like this, and they make it seem as if there's some race war coming, not acknowledging that we have been in one for centuries now, right? So that was number one. And number two, about his point here about the GoFundMe's and the people donating money to this white woman, that's part of the race war. Black people having a lack of resources and backing to fight back is part of the race war. That's a big part of it. Okay? Like I just told you, we were subjugated and they used our bodies as resources while also taking resources from the places that we come from. So us not having the proper money or resources to fight back against that, that's part of the race war. And as a matter of fact, that's probably one of the most detrimental things in the race war that has hindered us, because white society goes out of its way to keep resources out of our hands. That's why they get upset anytime they see a single black person gain any type of wealth or material gain. It upsets them on a deep level. They don't want us to have anything. And if it ever appears that we as black people are getting something over them, or that we might somehow get a financial leg up, they move heaven and earth to make sure that we don't get it. That's why they're so against us having reparations. They don't even want us talking about that. That's why anytime black people, especially black Americans, talk about reparations, you'll always see these people interject themselves when, they're not even in the conversation. They'll interject themselves and throw all types of distractions and nonsense trying to get us off the subject of reparations. They'll say all types of things that have nothing to do with the conversation. Black people talking about getting compensation for what happened to us during slavery has nothing to do with any other race being enslaved. It has nothing to do with any other race getting subjugated. It has nothing to do with any other race being mistreated. We're talking about us right here, right now. We're talking about getting compensation from the United States, the direct people that enslaved us. That's what we're talking about. All that other nonsense that white people and their little coon minions come up with when we talk about reparations, they always have some coon show up talking about, I don't need no reparations, nonsense like that, or talking about giving money for black people to go to college. All that is nonsense and a smokescreen. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, right? And all of it is distractions and straw man arguments and just BS. So, once again, anytime they feel that we might get a financial leg over them or we might get some sort of financial resources or compensation, they get all in their feelings and they do their best to get us off of that track. That's why they destroyed a lot of our black communities and black neighborhoods that made money. And if anyone does get any type of financial gain where they want to try to help their people, they make sure to get that Negro out of there, even if it means taking their life, right? So, like I said, it's a vicious cycle, and that is part of the race war. And black people, and I hope the black people listen to me, understand that, and understand that we are in a race war. This is nothing new. This is nothing that is coming. It's already here. Don't be confused by numbskulls like Tommy Sotomayor, who pays for white hoes and is a simp and does OnlyFans and all this other nonsense that is just embarrassing for any black male to be a part of. Don't listen to him. Understand what you're already living in. In fact, Negroes like him are part of the race war because you have traitors like him pretending that they're quote unquote trying to help black people, and all they do is sow poison within the community and get us to hate ourselves. And once again, Tommy is letting you know that
this Candyland, nigga. You can't destroy Candyland.
That's right. According to the coon, you cannot destroy Candyland. You cannot fight against white supremacy. So, you folks let me know how you feel about this in the comments section. I would love to hear your opinions on this. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.